World War II is remembered as the most devastating conflict in human history, with over 70 million lives lost. The Allies were victorious, but when we ask, who really won the war? The answer is more complex than a simple headline. Was it the United States, with its industrial might, the Soviet Union, with its colossal sacrifices on the Eastern Front, or perhaps Britain, which stood alone in 1940? Today, we're unpacking who paid the most, fought the hardest, and contributed the most to ultimate victory. First, what does it mean to win a world war? Is it about battlefield success, political influence afterward, or surviving and rising stronger? The Axis powers were defeated. Nazi Germany fell in May 1945. Imperial Japan surrendered in September. But the road to that victory was forged by a complex alliance: Britain, the Soviet Union, the United States, China, and many others, each playing different roles with different costs. To truly understand who won, we need to look at military contributions, economic support, casualties, and what each nation gained or lost by the war's end. By sheer numbers, no country bore a heavier burden than the Soviet Union. The Red Army destroyed over 75% of the German military on the Eastern Front. They lost over 26 million people, including more than 8 million soldiers. Entire cities like Stalingrad, Leningrad, and Kiev were bombed into rubble. In battles like Kursk, Moscow, and Stalingrad, the Soviets halted, then reversed the German advance. Without these victories, it's unlikely D-Day would have ever happened. But victory came at a cost. The Soviet Union emerged devastated, its economy shattered. Yet by 1949, it had risen to superpower status, holding Eastern Europe in its grip and rivaling the West for global influence. So did the Soviets win the war? They undoubtedly crushed the bulk of Hitler's forces, but at an appalling human cost. While the Soviets bled, the United States armed the world. America produced 2/3 of all Allied war material, from tanks and planes to trucks and food. US industry delivered over 300,000 aircraft, 90,000 tanks, and millions of tons of supplies. Through Lend-Lease, the US sent vast resources to Britain, the USSR, and China. On the battlefield, the US fought crucial campaigns in North Africa, Italy, France, and the Pacific. The Normandy landings, the Battle of the Bulge, and the island-hopping campaign against Japan showcased American military might. Most importantly, America ended the war with unparalleled power. Its economy was intact. It had nuclear weapons. It faced no damage on home soil. By 1945, the US was the undisputed leader of the West and architect of the post-war order. So, did the US win the war? Perhaps more than anyone else, strategically, economically, and diplomatically. Britain entered the war first in September 1939. It stood alone against Hitler in 1940-1941 after the fall of France. The Royal Air Force won the Battle of Britain, preventing a Nazi invasion. British forces fought across Europe, Africa, and Asia. Yet Britain emerged from the war exhausted and bankrupt, and its empire began to quickly unravel. India gained independence in 1947. Britain had fought with courage and moral clarity. But the global balance of power had shifted. Still, Britain's early resistance and global commitment played a vital role in ensuring the war was even winnable for the Allies. So, can it be argued that Britain won the war? Morally and militarily, yes, but in global influence, it was the beginning of the end of empire. Often forgotten in Western accounts, the Chinese fought longer than any other major power from 1937 to 1945. Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931, but full-scale war erupted in 1937. China tied down over 1 million Japanese troops, preventing their use in the Pacific. Their civilian casualties were staggering. Over 15 million dead and entire cities razed, such as Nanking, where the infamous massacre claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Despite internal division between the nationalists and communists, China absorbed the brunt of Japan's land war. It received Lend-Lease aid, but was largely on its own. Post-war, China was shattered and quickly descended into civil war. But without China's prolonged resistance, Japan may have overwhelmed Southeast Asia far earlier, and American island hopping may have been impossible. In the long run, World War II enabled China to become the dominant power in Southeast Asia and eventually a global economic superpower. We must also credit the many other nations who fought, suffered, and sacrificed. Poland, whose resistance continued even in exile. France, through both the Free French and resistance movements. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and India, who fought across multiple theatres. All these nations shaped the outcome and paid the price, often without the recognition they deserved. In human terms, the greatest losers were the civilians. The Holocaust claimed 6 million Jews. Over 20 million civilians died in the Soviet Union. China may have lost over 15 million people. German and Japanese cities were bombed into ruins. Even in victory, millions lived through hunger, displacement, and trauma. So, who really won World War II? The Soviets won on the battlefield, but paid the highest price. The Americans won economically and geopolitically, emerging as a superpower. Britain won morally, but lost its empire. Other allies won with bravery, but often without long-term rewards. Victory was shared, but unequally. In many ways, the war reshaped the world into a new rivalry, the Cold War. World War II was a global effort of unlikely allies. No single nation could have won it alone. But in the final reckoning, victory came at different costs and delivered different rewards. The real winners? The survivors who emerged unscathed and were able to get on with their lives and live with their memories. So, who do you think really won the Second World War? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe for more analysis of the Second World War.